Hello everybody, and happy summer! This is Bridger Hibbert, and I'm back with another LEGO review for the Wheel of Time. Now, I will remind you that this far in the review series, there will be spoilers. Although, I would ask that people do not put spoilers in the comments. I'm excited to show you this review. It's been a while, and I hope that you enjoy it. So, we'll get right into it after a word from our sponsor, Loki! I'm totally kidding. We don't have Loki for a sponsor. I'm so evil. We're just going to speed run this thing. So, as you know, if you're familiar with the series, you have the books based on the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. These ones being Book 9, Winter's Heart, and Book 10, Crossroads of Twilight. So Winter's Heart shows a cover with an Aes Sedai, some road people, including Eilman and Perrin. And I believe this is Anora, Missima, and then just a random soldier. Meanwhile, Book 10 shows a little more of a variety of people with Matt Cawthon. I believe this is just an archer. I don't know if he has a name, but that's important for this story. Then we have Tuon. I totally forgot her name. What was it? Celine? No, it wasn't Celine. I actually don't remember. But I know that this is Lucas because he's so different from Tom Marilyn with that mustache. And then we have just another random background driver, although he's not going to show up in the build. Selucia. Her name is Selucia. So, here are the books, and here are the builds.
Hello there.
By George. I totally forgot the hairpiece. But, okay, there we go. So, starting off with Winter's Heart, let's take a closer look at the minifigures. Starting off with Perrin, with his half-moon crescent-bladed axe, much like what we've seen here. And I gave him some sand blue hands, like from the ogre, as well as like a dark blue cape. I'm limited in cape colors, but I thought that was pretty good. The reason I chose Obi-Wan Kenobi's face from Revenge of the Sith was mostly because he just looks younger. And also I felt like that the beard details matched a little more accurately with what is portrayed on the cover as far as scruffiness. It's not as smooth. That's one change that I really did. I also used a torso from Oin from Lego The Hobbit. And also, if I choose to, I can give him another expression, which is pretty accurate to his mental condition in this book. I love the Wheel of Time, but I have to admit some of Perrin's chapters are a little hard to get through. But I am proud with the accuracy of this figure. So we will now move on to the next one. So for the Eilman, based off of his... Oh man, I did it again, didn't I? Eilman. Whatever, you get the point. While he may not match like perfectly as far as like skin tone goes, I do think that it accurately portrays what these people represent. The head piece that I used was Hercules from the Lego Disney minifigure series. He also has an alternate head, so then he can have a different expression, because they laugh, these people, when there's mostly no reason to laugh. Obviously, they need their iconic spear, and I give them this shield, just to kind of match what's in the background. Although with posability, it's different. The next character we have here is the Aes Sedai, Anora Sedai. She has a staff, much like my custom Moraines, with a short stick and the little hilt with the two holes on the side. The only difference between her and the book, really, well, there's actually a few different things. One definitely is the color of the cloak. It's definitely more of a blue in the book cover, but I went with gray because, quite frankly, I don't have a dark blue hood. But I did manage to give it an internal color using the cape from Lego Lord of the Rings Elrond. Just that red with the gold underneath, but you cover the red up enough with the gold, and it almost looks like a double-colored cape. Also, she does have an alternate head, because I wasn't too sure how much this was the original figurehead, but I think that there was a more accurate one, and surprisingly, I would definitely say it seems a lot more accurate, mostly due to like that little forehead piece. And this head was actually a custom based off of Lego Star Wars The High Republic. I ordered it from Amazon. Unfortunately, it was damaged, but yeah, there you go. But I do think that that definitely is a much better looking head. I also decided to update my Missima figure, aka Prophet of the Dragon, with a head from, I believe it was Oin as well from The Hobbit. He does have a double-sided head, and I tried to make his tunic dark brown in comparison to the cape, which is more of a lighter brown in the picture. And the torso is actually the back of a certain minifigure from Lego Lord of the Rings. It is actually Aragorn's torso. And I will admit, this figure also recently suffered some damage. So that's really unfortunate. But for the most part, it can still be posable, aside from that crack. And also, the legs are from Star Wars, the Kanja Club minifigure, just to try to really make that blend of a tunic. There probably could have been like a belt printing or something here to match that, but you work with what you can get, and I thought it looks pretty good. And speaking of Star Wars, we also have this flag holder who has a Han Solo head, mostly just to try to gain the look of a soldier. But he also has a little flag, kind of like the knights from the Lego Path of Daggers set from the last video. Obviously, the emblems don't match, but you still do get the idea of it's supposed to be a flag. And Han also uses a torso from the Resistance, but if you're not paying too close attention, it's kind of hard to notice. And then there's his double-sided head. Yeah, I'd probably be smiling too if I was a background character in the Wheel of Time. Time to get in the little build itself. So honestly, there's nothing too special about it, aside from a few key differences. One of them is instead of black place, I decided to just kind of act like as if it was the snow was just kind of escaping onto the sides. I used a lot of curved pieces to really try to get this idea of smooth snow. And the biggest thing, actually, was when it comes to smooth snow, just to make it flat tiling, or studs not on top, just to make it smooth. And then for wrecked snow, you actually have studs showing. And this will actually just give the illusion of fresh snow being tramped on. I thought that was pretty nice. I also have this little bush here, which is covered in snow. And you know, like if it was standing out like this, it would kind of look a little awkward with that white block behind it. So I used some of these slope pieces to kind of give the impression of that there is more underneath the snow. Much like the others, it has a jumper plate in the center. And then the background is probably the most simple, but I love it. I just love how it contrasts to the actual book cover, where you have the clouds, which I was careful to try to not get them mistaken for snow or mountain caps. And then you have that little arched background to match the mountains / trees, although it's just a vague mirage in a way. There's also nothing on the back for this one, more so because I really want to finish the series before I establish what would go on the back, but it does have a number 9 to show that this is Winter's Heart, and like all the other builds, it includes Technic bricks, so it can be compatible and they can all snap together. At the time of this video, yeah, that's pretty much it for that. So let's go into the setup, how this thing actually is supposed to look, or at least how to gain that posability. Again, looking at the base, there are a lot of flat pieces, but there's also some hidden studs around here. Like, I don't know what this piece is called, but it's really nice when it comes to posability because you can stick a figure on and then it just looks like they're on smooth tiling. It's really nice. Oh, I suppose I could hurry and just pop that off for you to show you how that works. Same techniques as usual. Then you just fit it in there and just really make that blend. I forgot to mention that little snow just kind of gives the illusion of like a hill in the background, especially when the figures are on it. So let's start off with Master Perrin first. All right. So his posability, you have to kind of make him look like he's walking. And the way that he walks with his axe, you actually need to kind of bring it down a bit and then just reverse it. So then he can look like he has his hand on it, on top of it. Or you can make him look like he's hiking with it. But his specific spot is right here in the front, right in front of this crest up snow. So that's where he goes, kind of poses his hand back a little bit. Next, let's go into Anora Sedai. So she's supposed to be on a brown horse, but I only have so many, so I had to give her a black one. So just kind of set her on there, pose her hands so then it's like it's at the reins. And then for her little staff, in order to get it accurate to what's on the cover, I flipped the hand upside down, so it's not common Lego posing, but that allows it for her staff to kind of go like that in front of her and raise the horse's head temporarily while you continue other posing. Yeah, really, because of the cape and because there's no stud on top, it really exposes her forehead, but you can at least see the headpiece clearly. And I believe she goes right here, just like right behind Perrin. Roughly that. Next, we have this horse, which is supposed to be Perrin's horse, Stepper, I assume, judging by the way that he's actually guiding this one with the reins. So I put Stepper roughly here. Next up, we have the flag guy, and he needs to go back here. There's a little isolated stud that he can stand on, even though, yeah, he's supposed to be on a horse or something, judging by the little ears that are hiding right there. But, he is at least somewhat viewable, or at least you can see the flag, which honestly is the most important little detail. So next we have Massima. Now, Massima also has a brown horse, but I had to go with black again. And so you just kind of pose its head forward, trying to match that pose there. And you stick it right here. Now, this is actually a little interesting because as far as like Massima goes story-wise, he doesn't really like Aes Sedai. So you kind of have to give him like a pose that seems like he's a bit untrusting of who's next to him. And the way I achieve that, if the arm doesn't fall off, we'll just hope it doesn't, you can just kind of make the cape billow behind him. Try to get that nice little curve, very similar to that. And you can try to turn his head a little. But that is for Massima. And we have the Eilman and his shield and buckler. I assume it's supposed to be Gaul, but what we do is we take off his shield. We actually slide it on to the spear, like that. About halfway or a little more up. It depends on how he's supposed to be holding it. And then you put it on his hand upside down, like that. And then you try to turn his head as much as possible without making it seem like he's trying to look into cloth. Because the whole point of this pose is he's supposed to be looking at Perrin and pointing. Let's just see if we can get that a little less tight. There we go. Perfect. Make him walk. It looks like his right leg is out. And there's this little stud right there in the middle, just to give him that turnable posability. It also makes him look slightly taller than Perrin, which I believe is more accurate to what is seen on the cover. Adjust his arm, the buckler, and about that. And there you go. That is how you have Winter's Heart. Now let's get into the next part. Crossroads of Twilight. So once again, we have another Matt Cawthon minifigure. He has Barbossa's hat. He actually has a Ninjago scarf, but it's backwards to represent his silk neckerchief. And then we have the head is from Henry Wu from the Jurassic World series. Then we have his Ashandarai with the Dagger of Time, black lightsaber hilt, black stud with the hole. And the torso, even though it's more modernized with that modern like pockets and the belt, I think it does at least have the detail of like the scarf, which is kind of shown here, although it's more purplish, but I think it does get the point across. And also the reversible head really fits into Matt's minifigure. I suppose that covered also works given the context of the book. There we go. It just really gives him that arrogant look. Now, even though this character here doesn't really play too much of a part as far as like being a main character, I suppose, he does have an essential role in this book. In fact, this implies a scene where basically, long story short, in order to protect themselves, Matt actually has this guy shoot someone that would give him away. This hairpiece is from the Lego Dimensions Ghostbusters Peter Venkman. The head is actually Twilight from The Hobbit. You can see like his dwarvish tattoos, but this hairpiece does pretty well at covering it up, or at least trying to make him look like scars or strange sideburns. I mean, I don't know. It's a fantasy world. You can do whatever you want. The quiver and the torso is also from The Hobbit, from Keeley. And then we have his bow and arrow and some tan torsos. So that's this character. So this old man on the horse, I'm assuming, is Luca, Valen Luca. And this is his minifigure. He uses General Dodonno's hairpiece from Lego Star Wars. He also has a reversible Gandalf head from the later waves of The Lord of the Rings. Sensei Wu beard. And the torso is Ori from The Hobbit. Just to give you a quick look at his reversible feature. There we go. I think it fits him really well. Because like even though he looks bald, there's just this little hint of hair at the very top. I don't know if you can see that very well. But it seems to work. Also his legs, just to get the color accuracy, I had to use the gingerbread ones. But since he's actually riding a horse, you can't really see that detail. And I think it's a good little secret of this set. But speaking of secret, one of Matt's greatest secrets is that he is going to marry someone called the Daughter of the Nine Moons. And this is Tuon. Well, Tuon Pendrag. She has a longer name, but she's a Sanshan princess. And she has a dark blue cape from Hercules, just to really get that short look. She has dark blue gloves. And she also uses this hair. I mean, that hairpiece was kind of tricky because, like, honestly, Tuon is supposed to be bald, but because Matt accidentally kidnapped her through a series of happenings, the wheel weaves as the wheel wills, she had to hide out with him, and she started growing out her hair. But she's not alone. In a way, her kidnapping was kind of, what's the word? It was like permission was given? I also should mention I chose Barbara Gordon's head because Tuon is kind of mischievous in her own way. She both fascinates Matt and also makes him very frustrated. Also, she has the title of Daughter of Nine Moons, but if you count, these actually, there's 9 like different designs on this torso. One of them is a crescent moon though, so not too far off the mark. And here we have another Sanshan. This is actually supposed to be Selusha, Tuon's like, not exactly maid, but okay, yes, she actually is using the Lego torso from Leia from the 20 years anniversary, which is probably a terrible thing to do because that set is so unique. But just for the sake of this, I thought it gave her the nice plain white torso, brown legs, and she also uses Elsa's braid. Even though it doesn't drape over the shoulder, she does have a braid. Honestly, I thought this was a Brigitte from book 2 for a while, but I was kind of confused at that. But anyway, that's getting into a whole nother level. But the head is also Princess Tamina from the Prince of Persia sets, or Princess Leia from Star Wars, depending on the year. It depends. But she also has a reversible head, that rubber hairpiece, and that just kind of makes her look nicer. But to be fair, Selusha is not really, well, at least to Matt, she's pretty fierce and protective of Tuon. Oh, posability. First off, Tuon. So this is her horse, and it actually has a few black square studs attached to it. The reason for this is because she kind of hangs off the build, but yeah. I also chose this Indian horse of an older design because Tuon's ride seems a bit more spotted, and like I said, I have very few different colored horses. But here's Tuon. She's also supposed to be short, but if I gave her the Prospector legs from Toy Story 2, she just would look too childish. So I decided to make her taller, and I think it's more accurate for certain. So then next we have Selusha. Just stick her in there, make her angry, kind of turn her head towards Tuon. Not because she's mad at Tuon, but because she's kind of like, I'm not sure we should trust this guy. Really fast taking a look. I probably should mention, I actually left off this tree trunk when I began the video, mostly because I put them back where they belonged, but they're actually barrels. And yeah, I'm missing a few pieces, it would seem. But other than that, little eyesore. Let's just take a look at this tree trunk, which is totally better and definitely the more preferred method. It's from a bunch of like Lego Castle wheels or Lego Knights Kingdom, one of those. And then I also have all these like pins inserted into the holes. That broke for whatever reason. Don't know how, but it just adds like a greebling to make it seem more detailed than just a bunch of technicals. Because, like, those look like, I don't know, a little ladder from a Lego game or something. But just stick that on there. I also tried to smooth it out on the top because on the book cover, these are kind of shown as really big trees. But obviously, the most detailed, you do it only on the 3 sides and not the 4th, otherwise, it'll interfere with the background. All of these little green pieces came from Lego Games, the Minotaurus set, and some power miners. But this was actually kind of difficult because you're supposed to kind of make it look like winter, early spring. But it works pretty good. Then we have the background, which actually is a little more different than the other ones. Mostly because, not just because of like these branch pieces that are interconnected along with all these little half lump, half semicircle pieces, which came from, I believe it was a Lego Star Wars set, 2005 Duel Mustafar, really good set for its time. It also has this little green feather hidden. I don't remember what set the green feather came from, but you get the idea. Also, there is no design on the back, again, because I want to finish the series before doing so. Connected with studs on the back. And there's a number 10. So, also, there's more gap room in the back to really make room for this different background. So, we can just stick it back on. And even though you can't see the little brown builds on the back, just kind of hidden there, it is pretty nice to just have it safely protected. So there we go. And let's get into the posability. What do you guys think of these builds? You think you could do better? You probably can. But, the whole point of this channel is to have fun, inspire, and I hope that you guys can get your brick on this summer. And also, I just wanted to share another little sneak peek at a project, which is, honestly, it's the biggest build I've ever built in my life. I friggin' love it. It's, here you go. At long last, I built the ultimate custom build, the ultimate almighty